Hello everyone. So the next topic which we will be going to study is about the micronutrients and the macronutrients. So as the name suggests, micronutrients, which means they are present in the small quantity, and the macronutrients, they are present in the large quantity in the plant cells or in the animal cells. So let's start with the first slide of the introduction. So plants are the autotrophs, which means that they make their own food. And plants depends on inorganic nutrients for the synthesis of complex organic compounds. So they depend on some inorganic nutrients. They derive these nutrients from the air, water and soil. So they undergo the process of photosynthesis and they derive these nutrients from the air, from the water and from the soil. So in this we will be first describing about a term that is essential elements. So what are essential elements? Essential elements are those that are that their absence prevents a plant from completing its life cycle. So they are the one whose absence prevents a plant from completing its life cycle. So this is the essential nutrients. Now essential nutrients has been divided into two parts, that is non-mineral elements and the mineral elements. And here the mineral elements are being divided into two parts, that is the macronutrients and the micronutrients. So we will be discussing first what are the non-mineral elements and what are the mineral essential elements. So these are of two types, as we have discussed, non-mineral elements and mineral elements. So what are non-mineral elements? These are those elements that are derived from carbon dioxide and water, and the examples of this is hydrogen, carbon and oxygen. So these are all the non-mineral elements. Then what about mineral elements? They are essential for the growth and development of the plants. So this includes nickel, calcium, magnesium, potassium, copper, etc. So here it is a representation of the essential elements, that is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen, and they are sourced from the water and soil. And here they are sourced from soil or the fertilizer. So these are the examples of mineral elements and essential mineral elements and non-mineral elements. So next we will be discussing that what are the functions of these essential elements. So all the essential elements, they perform numerous functions, like they maintain the osmotic concentration of the cell sap, they have buffering action and they show enzymatic activity. So this is one of the important functions of the essential elements. Now when a plant that lacks an essential nutrient will not complete its life cycle, as seed may not germinate. So when the seed will not germinate, the plant will not grow or able to grow the roots or stem or leaves or flowers properly. So it may not be able to produce seeds in the form of a new plant. So if the plants lack any of these elements, there will be a retardation in the growth of the plant, or there will be some deficiency kind of symptoms which leads to the plant to die. So these elements will play a major role in the growth and development of a plant. Then the macronutrients. The macronutrients are those that are present in large quantities. So this is one of the essential element that is relatively present in the large quantities. For example, the value has been given here as 1000 mg per kg of dry matter, and they are referred to as the macronutrients. So the macronutrients are the nutrients that provide calories or energy and are required in large amounts to maintain body functions, and they carry out the activities of the daily life. So if we talk about macronutrients, they are categorized, or they are broadly categorized into three categories further, that is carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So these are the three categories in which the macronutrients are being further divided. Now Some of the examples of macronutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. These are some of the examples of macronutrients, and they are considered as the essential elements of the plant. They help in the growth and development of the plant. So nitrogen is present in the abundant quantity in case of plants, and nitrogen is very much needed for the plants for its growth and development. So this was all about the examples of macronutrients. Next, the macronutrients are further divided into two parts, that is the primary nutrients and the secondary nutrients. So what are the functions of primary nutrients and the secondary nutrients? So first we will be discussing about the primary nutrients. Primary nutrients, they are the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So these are some of the examples of primary nutrients, because these nutrients, these major nutrients are usually lacking from the soil first, because plants use large amounts for the growth and survival. So as I have already told, that nitrogen is present in large amounts or in abundant quantity in plants, so it will be responsible for the growth of the plant. So this is why they are called the primary nutrients, and the examples are three which are being given here. Next is about the secondary nutrients. So these are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. They are usually enough of these nutrients in the soil, so fertilization is not always needed. So these nutrients are usually enough in the quantity in the soil also, so the fertilization is not always much needed for them. Next is about the micronutrients. Micronutrients are those essential elements for the plant growth, and which are needed in only small quantity. So as it was mentioned in the case of macronutrients, that it was about 1000 mg per kg of dry matter, but in the case of micronutrients it should be equal or less than 1000 mg per kg of the dry matter. So these elements are also called as minor or trace elements. So these elements are also called as minor or trace elements. And some of the micronutrients and the examples of some of the micronutrients are given in the next slide. That is boron, copper, iron, chloride, manganese, nickel, sodium, molybdenum, and zinc. So these are all the examples of micronutrients, and they are present in very small quantity in case of the plants. So these are all the